Globalization brings us to other cultures, so let me introduce you one case that emphasizes the cultural differences that can be faced between the Netherlands and Vietnam.
Hey, I'm Mr. Holland. I will go on an internship in Vietnam next month. There are many cultural differences between the Netherlands and Vietnam, so I asked my friend, Miss Vietnam, for some tips to avoid cultural pitfalls. Let me introduce my friend to you.
Hi, Mr. Holland. I heard that you will be coming to Vietnam soon. Here are some tips that help you to integrate faster in the Vietnamese working environment. First, I will provide you with some facts about Vietnam. Vietnam is located in Southeast Asia. Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City are the main cities of Vietnam. Vietnam is 8 times bigger than the Netherlands, and if you go there, you will be more than 9,000 kilometers away from home. Let's move to the cultural differences. Very significant is the difference in power distance. The Vietnamese power distance is almost 2 times bigger than the score of the Netherlands. This means that in Vietnam, the boss is a very important person with the ultimate power in the organization. He has the decision authority and is a role model. Everyone within the organization looks up to him. The subordinates should just listen, observe, and follow him. To make it more clear, the word boss means that he's the king, and whatever he says, just listen and do it. Tip 1 would be, avoid questioning the decisions that your boss made, and do not try to start any discussions. The name of your boss is Roland van den Berg. You would probably call him Roland. In Vietnam, you must avoid calling only the name. Keep in mind that you always have to mention the title or rank, like Mr. Boss. An important cultural concept is individualism versus collectivism. You remember that there was a high difference in power distance? Here it is even higher. The Vietnamese score is 4 times higher and definitely a collectivist culture. Mutual harmony is a top priority. This means that they are interested in the well-being of others of the group. Besides harmony, relationship is a basis for everything. Relatives of the employer or employee are preferred in hiring. This shows that the employer-employee relationship is basically moral, like a family link. To make it more clear, it could look like this. Many employees and other managers can be found within the family of the boss or within the family of other employees. Even in this case, you should not question the skills and qualifications of your colleagues. Just because they are either friends or family of the boss, it does not mean that they do not have any qualifications. In addition to that, teamwork is very important, and the cultural element here is the achievement of team goals instead of personal goals. Mr. Holland, you will recognize that your colleagues will not bring up out of the norm ideas, or ideas that are different from those of the in-group. Due to this, a good relationship with colleagues is needed. Bringing up new ideas can be challenging within the Vietnamese culture. If you have an idea that is different to the rest, do not bring it up immediately. Share the idea with the others in a more informal context. You could, for example, share the idea with them individually during the lunch break. Maintaining a good and close relationship with colleagues means that you should join them when they go out for lunch or dinner. You should visit them at home apart from work. It is also about sharing more personal information with them to get a family feeling or the feeling of being part of the in-group. You should start from your first working day to build a close relationship with your colleagues by asking them if you can have lunch with them or to go out with them in the evening. Mr. Holland, you can show your commitment and build good relationships from your first working day by giving a gift to your new colleagues. Vietnamese people enjoy to receive gifts and giving etiquette. It would be even better if it is a gift that has a direct relation to the Netherlands. I already mentioned that harmony is very important in Vietnam. This is also referring to the communication style. The message is conveyed implicitly, and the meaning is illustrated by nonverbal communication. The high-context communication style is influenced by the face concept. The face concept represents the reputation, social standing, dignity, and individual honors. If a person communicates too direct, it could be that the person loses face and will be lowered in the eyes of employees. Vietnamese people save or build face by using an indirect communication style. By doing this, they raise their self-worth. Mr. Holland, here are some tips for saving face in Vietnam. First of all, avoid pointing out the mistake of others in public. And indeed, if you want to do that, there are still some ways. For instance, you can talk about it in more informal private conversation. It might be a matter of being different, so you can let them know what your preferred behaviors are. Always give a sincere compliment to your conversation partner. When you go out eating with a colleague or your boss and he offers you to pay for your food or drink, simply accept it. You can offer him the same next time. Do not point out at all that you think that someone is lying. This would definitely make them losing face. During the first days within the company, you will have to get used to the communication style. When you communicate with Vietnamese people, you should dance around the point, and avoid being too direct to them. If you are direct, it can be perceived as being rude and ruin others' face. You should also avoid to say no to keep harmony and to avoid conflict. You could say maybe, together with Vietnamese hidden cues such as voice or tone. While people are dancing around the point, how to ensure that you understand the message correctly. Pay attention to nonverbal clues and how they convey the message. For instance, "It seems to be good" is positive, whereas "it seems to be good" is negative. If you're still not sure, just ask them again as confirmation. However, it is better if you explain in advance your different communicating style. To verify to them that you're not criticizing them, but it is simply a matter of differences. Nevertheless, after your onboarding period, try to not overuse this method and learn to interpret Vietnamese way of communicating. Another cultural concept that describes Vietnam is polychronic time approach. You will notice that when you work in Vietnam, schedules and deadlines are not strict but flexible, and a colleague who sits next to you does multiple tasks at the same time. So be aware that your colleagues or partners will be around 15 minutes late and everyone behaves as nothing happens. The best thing you can do is to get along with it and accept this kind of flexible timing manner. Apart from that, normally in Vietnam, official working hours will be from 8 a.m. until 4 or 5 p.m. However, what you will notice from your first working day is that your colleagues stay longer and having no intention to leave the office at the official end. This is common sense in Vietnam. So when can you leave your office? There is an unwritten rule: never leave the company before your boss. Try to leave the office with your colleagues, at least during your onboarding process. Otherwise, you will not be treated as an in-group member. With regard to the dressing code, proper attires for work are conservative with subdued colors. You should not appear at your first working day with jeans and t-shirt, and women should not wear casual clothes. You should not dress too formal or too colorful. Men should wear neutral and simple shirts and dark trousers. Women should wear dresses or suits, but also pay attention to how the people within the organization dress. It might seem very complicated to you, but in short, concerning Vietnamese culture, you need to remember the following concepts: high power distance, collectivism, high context communication with saving and losing face concept, and finally, the polychronic time approach. In practice, when you start working, keep in mind that you should avoid questioning the decisions of your boss. Call your boss by title or rank. Hang out with colleagues frequently to build relationships. In communication, you should not be too direct and pay attention to nonverbal clues. If you have out-of-the-norm ideas or want to provide feedback, save it for private and informal conversations. Adjust yourself to more flexible time, and then make sure that you were conservative close to work. These were my advices for now. With these tips you can survive the first few days. However, you have to be aware of the fact that the topic cultural difference is huge, and it is related to individual differences as well. Keep in mind that you have to do even more researches, and during your stay pay attention to cultural clues and try to find your own way to adapt. If you have any troubles there, you can contact me at any time. Thank you for your attention.